Another thing that happened that I just talked about on my TikTok, if you guys haven't seen my recent TikTok, go watch it. But Jenicka Lopez got called out, dude, for having a boring podcast. Let's check that out.
I'm going to be the one to say it, but Jenicka Rivera's Overcomfort podcast is poorly structured and boring and all over the place. And this is coming from someone that literally gets paid for constructive criticism when it comes to social media marketing strategy and content. I own a social media marketing agency. I do this every day. So the first thing right off the bat is that Jenicka Rivera mentioned so many times that she created this Overcomfort podcast to make people feel comfortable, people to feel open, but it only feels awkward, all over the place. It feels poorly structured, and her audience knows that it feels very poorly structured and it feels all over the place because every single time I see her upload a new video or I see a clip on TikTok, the comments are full of Jenicka, it feels like you're just saying random things, it just feels like she doesn't know what to say, it feels poorly structured, and your audience is telling you that they want structure. And that's the first thing right off the bat. It feels very awkward because
it's true, it doesn't seem like she knows what to say. How long has she been doing this podcast? Has it been a minute?
it feels like Jenicka's just saying random things in order to keep the conversation going. And here are two things that I feel like are contributing to this. The first one is that she relied on her family name to just get people to watch her content. She just probably created it. She was like, whatever, like, I know people are gonna watch it because I'm a Rivera. And the thing is that we cannot really
I don't know if people would just watch it because she's a Rivera. I feel like at a certain point, it has to be also because you're entertaining. All right. I personally don't watch Jenicka's podcast like that. I've only watched like once or twice, but I don't know. What do you think that's the case? Just because of her last name?
Rely on our name, our reputation, our image. This is the issue with the Kardashians and Jenners, because every single time that they create a random brand, they always think that just because they're a Jenner or just because they're a Kardashian, that it's just going to sell out, that it's going to do well, when a lot of these businesses and brands that they create literally make no sense. But they just kind of rely on the image or the reputation that they have for people to just buy. Another thing that I think,
well, I mean, some Kardashian stuff is okay. Not all of them. Some.
what is happening here is that she also feels like she doesn't have to do the work. Like, she doesn't have to try as hard because she knows that people are going to still watch at the end of the day. But I always tell big businesses, regardless,
You gotta try hard though. I do agree. It sometimes it looks like she has previous guests come over, but they're like friends, so she doesn't really have those questions already lined up to ask them. That way, people that don't know them can know more about them. For instance, I always say this: every time you interview someone, every time you go on live, you gotta present yourself as the first time someone is watching you. You can't go in already like, como te digo, being buddy. Just imagine this is someone's first time watching you, because that way you pull in the people and you somehow are gonna entertain them. But yeah, I just feel like she brings friends and they just have a friendly conversation. That's why it feels all over the place for some people.
if you have a huge following or not, if you're an influencer with so many followers, you still need to do the work. I can't tell you guys the amount of times when I see big businesses launch a brand,
Thank you
launch
for
a
the
new product,
hearts,
they
the
don't
roses.
want to get constructive criticism. They don't want people to see it from a different point of view and help them out because they are stuck in their own ways and they don't want to do better, or they don't want to receive constructive criticism, and they also don't listen to their audience. And her audience is literally telling her what they want, and she still hasn't changed, because I like have been watching these podcasts to create this video and I haven't seen any changes. There's a reason why Noches de Pendejadas by Alan and Call Me Daddy are so successful.
I don't think this girl should have brought up other podcasts, in my opinion,
because they give them the floor, they start talking, and they also have questions already created for them that gives us more insight on who they are, or questions that we as the audience want to know. They also talk in like a two-way street. They talk, then they talk and put in their 2 cents, then they ask another question, they talk, then they put in their 2 cents, and it kind of flows very well. There's a reason why both of those podcasts are doing really well. That I do not see in Jenicka Rivera's podcast. And this is not even me bashing Jenicka Rivera. I think that she's a really sweet and kind girl and she has a lot of potential. I also think her podcast has a lot of really good potential because she has amazing guests there. But if people are telling you in the comments, on TikTok videos, literally everywhere, that they want it to be different, that the structure is all over the place, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere, they don't really know what to expect, and that they are logging off, clicking off because it's getting boring, it just seems like it's a lot of filler just to continue the conversation. That
I do feel like Jenica should take the criticism and work on the podcast, because obviously those are your followers watching the podcast. So yeah, I mean, hopefully she doesn't take this video, not me, but her video, wrong, but get something out of it. Get something out of it.
I feel like you should change it because that's what your audience wants. And this also goes beyond the audience. If you create really good structure, it's going to help the person that you're inviting in the podcast too, because they're going to start to notice that you took the time out of your day to research them, to create questions, pre-prepared questions, and you're telling them meaningful questions. They're going to feel more comfortable. They're going to see that you took the time out of your day to research them. They're going to see that you are creating these questions, and it's just going to feel more flowy and they're going to feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Facts. This is decent business advice, to be honest. It is. It's Jenicka Lopez, though, not Rivera on her podcast name. but you know what she means. So let's just watch a full episode of Jenica's podcast. Let's see how it is. All right, get your popcorn ready. I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what she said. Very, very interesting.